I think it's been great coming out here from the point of view of getting to look at a site that you wouldn't normally associate with the National Trust, because I think lots of people tend to think of the National Trust as somewhere where you take the family, like a big posh house or something like this. But you are a National Trust archaeologist.
Yeah, I think it's a role people don't really think of when they think of the National Trust. It's very common that when I say I work for the National Trust as an archaeologist, people say, oh, what are you doing? But what they don't realise, especially in this part of the world, we've got massive amounts of coastline around here. Where you've got coastline, you've got a lot of early archaeology, as well as a bit later, but lots of prehistoric stuff, like the raft that we've been working on, and Gatehome itself, which I think is showing some really nice, interesting stuff there. Some sort of Roman pottery has come up.
Yes, looks like it's Romano-British, and maybe even Bronze Age, so yeah. And what's your archaeologically? You were an archaeologist to begin with, and then you began working. Which are the sites that you've really got excited about that you've been involved in that are owned by the National Trust? Are there some that sort of stand out?
Yeah, I mean, this project here has been particularly fun for me because I really sort of into prehistory as one of the more exciting things from my point of view personally. But actually, one of the best sites that I'm working with at the moment is an industrial site down in the vale underneath Aberdylice Falls. It's a tin plate works. We've got some amazing sort of standing structures there that are sort of really, really well intact, and we're doing a really great project at the moment where we're consolidating a lot of those and sort of improving sort of visitor interpretation and access really to that site.
And how does archaeological work on these sites, how does that play back into the general public? The archaeological work you do, what's the return to the members of the National Trust, if you like?
Well, obviously, hopefully they'll get to see your programme, which would be a really big plus for us, but also we're looking with the National Park as well to perhaps come back and do some more field walking after the programme airs and actually getting people a bit more aware of the archaeology. And also I think what I'll be looking to do once sort of the results of the work sort of are passed on to me is perhaps do some kind of additional interpretation here with the property staff and actually making them aware so they can tell visitors sort of by mouth as well, sort of word of mouth conversations, people are coming along, did you know this is what we've got here, and maybe looking into some additional something simple like pamphlets and notice board, anything like that.
Because we were talking to someone this afternoon, Pete, who's the expert on rafts, and Pete stood up on top of one of those ramparts back there and said something like, you've got to imagine that, you know, I could have been standing here with a slingshot, which is deadly, over a 60-yard range, defending those walls. And I think if as a visitor, if you could imagine that picture, you know, it's suddenly you think, wow, you know, this would have been quite a place in the Iron Age. So that there could be something in the car park that did that and everything like
and
that.
certainly, I mean, one thing that occurred to me might be if we were to develop with some of our wardens maybe some tours where they can sort of actually sort of reenact that kind of thing that Pete did. That might be really exciting for people to come out and stand up on these ramparts themselves and have that kind of discussion again.
And I think what we're hoping to do as well with this is that to get Victor, it's a bit far for Victor to come, this one, but we were hoping to get Victor to do a drawing of exactly that kind of moment with the guy defending the ramparts and all the rest of it, and you can imagine that here, and it sort of suddenly comes alive.
Definitely, and I think for me as an archaeologist, sort of now with the National Trust, that's the kind of thing we're looking to do, bring our archaeology to life and bring it a bit more to the forefront and sort of just really engage with the local communities and go on more of a local scale, you know.
Okay, well thanks very much, and we're really nearing the end of the final day now. Last minute we're putting all the trenches back, tied it up and all the rest of it, but this is a really quite amazing part of the world. We're right at the end of this peninsula. What's the county here? We're right at the end of the Pembrokeshire Peninsula. It's a fantastic landscape and scenery, and actually, even though it's August or whatever we are, it's really fantastic, isn't it? Not too busy and stuff like that. So it's been nice. Nice thing about Time Team is we get to go and see places we wouldn't normally go to. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, it's been really interesting, so thank you for coming.